their way from Boston to New York the way they used to.
Put them in. I don't know. They put them in. They have. Yeah. You'll see if they're on here. Take your bags. Go ahead. All aboard.
We used to play like in maybe Friday in New York, Saturday in Baltimore, Saturday night, and then there was a sleeper that would go through. And we'd get back on a sleeper because we would occasionally play Sunday afternoon in Boston. So you couldn't take a chance on hanging around Saturday night in Baltimore.
Well, we'd get over to Penn Station, of course, after the game in Madison Square Garden and jump on the train, get into a Pullman berth. And if you know, those Pullman berths are not very long. And for a guy 6'7", I had to curl up.
I think that we took the train once. That was from Syracuse. You know, it snows in Syracuse. I had to get back to Boston. There were 3 sleepers on. There were just 3 vacant sleepers. Naturally, they went to Russell, Cousy, and Bill Sharman. The rest of us had to stay up all night. We played cards. We kept each other interested.
There was only one time where we ended up taking a train, and that was on a trip to the West Coast. They had a snowstorm in Boston. We couldn't arrive in Boston. As far as we could get was Newark, New Jersey, and Red Auerbach said, okay, we'll go to Newark. So we ended up in Newark, and everyone figured, well, we have to take a train or do something. And when we get off the plane, Red was going to Washington, which wasn't any problem because that's where his home is. And he said, you guys are on your own. I'll see you in 2 days.
The trip that used to be long was Detroit to Minneapolis by train or any of those other cities. But, you know, this is a 4-hour ride or something. Not too bad. It was quite enjoyable, some of them.
Back when you played, you took the wagon train. Any favorite travel stories on you, Ray?
Ernie, some unbelievable ones out of Chicago. At one time, they had canceled all flights out of Chicago because of weather. We went home, went to sleep, got a 3 a.m. call. The plane still didn't leave till 11. We had to play on the West Coast out of Chicago at 6 o'clock that same day.
3 a.m. call.
3 a.m.
You had just gotten in.
Needless to say, we didn't have Michael Jordan then. We had this guy named Reggie Theus, and we got waxed.
Oh, my. Tell me about it. Back to wrap things up on the Nike halftime report in just a minute. You're watching the Rockets and the Knicks, and it's all Houston so far. They're up a bunch. They host Penny and the Magic, 8 o'clock Eastern on TBS. A TNT programming note, Friday afternoon, 2 to 5 Eastern. We're going to bring you live coverage of the Bob Hope Chrysler Classic. Join us Friday afternoon on TNT. And tonight after the Knicks and Rockets, it's Inside the NBA with all the highlights you need and a profile of Chris Webber. He's healthy, and so are his stats. The New York Knicks not looking too healthy in the first half. Charles has 24, and the Rockets are up by 20. Third quarter coming up.
Here's the thing. Most long-distance plans, very complicated.
Oh, yeah.
But the AT&T One-Rate plan, very simple.
How simple?
Calls from home are one low rate all the time.
How much?
It's 15 cents a minute to anybody in America at any time.
And this is AT&T.
That's right.
It's one rate all the time.
Exactly.
Is there any time when this is not the rate?
There is no time when this is not the rate.
I don't get it.
Am I just being unclear?
No restrictions, no games. The AT&T One-Rate plan.
When was the last time the weight of the world felt like nothing more than a feather? When was the last time you had this much fun or ate this much ice cream? And when was the last time you left home for bluer pastures? Holland America Line. It's time.
AAA members save on Holland America cruises. Call 1-800-222-5951.
The light of a flickering image makes the world come alive.
I am the master of my fate.
Holding a mirror up to our lives, the filmmaker shows us a reflection of our world. TNT is proud to be a part of this grand tradition of storytelling.
I'm out.
You can't get out.
These are the TNT originals. And these are the stars who interpret our world and bring life to our heritage. Movies that challenge us, outrage us, and comfort us. Movies that become a part of our lives. The original motion pictures that only one studio could create. TNT, the best movie studio on television.
This program is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the National Basketball Association. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the National Basketball Association is prohibited.
Welcome back to Space City. We are on the Gulf Coast of Texas, the city of Houston, and the Rockets have had their way with the New York Knicks at halftime, 63-43. The Houston Rockets lead the Knicks as we get set for the third quarter, and it's time now for what has become a much-anticipated halftime feature on these Tuesday night get-togethers. We call it, well, you remember.
What's up, Doc? What's up, Doc?
Vern, what's up is the pull-up jumper. The in-between game, I call it. If you have this shot in your arsenal, you are in demand. Your defender must honor the drive in the center. He can't step out. As the game tightens, this shot becomes the weapon of choice. I call it the game winner shot. If you have this shot, you've won games.
That's all, folks.
It helps a little bit if Jordan's the guy shooting the ball.
Yeah, it sure does. And Craig, Elo is like the poster child for the pull-up jumper because we've seen Jordan do that on him probably more than anybody on that one highlight.
Give me your take on the first half.
The first half is all about turnovers. Turnovers, and the Knicks are causing them. And when they turn the ball over, Houston scores off of that. That's why you see the score 63-43, not in favor of the Knicks.
13 turnovers for the Knicks, only 7 for Houston in the first half. No turnover from Craig Sager. He joins us now. Craig?
Not yet anyway, Vern. You couldn't find two more diverse locker rooms at half. Jeff Van Gundy was all over his team, talking about a lack of aggression at both ends of the court. He said Charles Barkley is having one of those types of game, but we have to match aggression against this team. As for Rudy Tomjanovich, he said that he was enjoying the first half, that Charles came out fired up, and at one point he actually gave him the clipboard and said, "What play do you want to run, Charles?" Back to you, Vern.
Offensive coordinator Charles Barkley.
Well, like I said, Rudy's a great coach. He's smart enough to figure out that Charles Barkley is rolling. Just get out of the way and let him roll.
Charlie Ward opens the second half with Chris Childs and Allen Houston, a three-guard offense now, and Patrick Ewing.
Yeah, and the change, if you're wondering, is John Wallace is not starting. Charlie Ward is starting. So Jeff Van Gundy has already made a change.
Underneath, Ewing steps in front of it. Here's Ward, finds Childs. Maloney is back. Childs kicks it back outside to Oakley, but the jumper got it. Nice start for New York.
Real nice start. They cause the turnovers, and they get the shot. And you don't put in three guards unless you're going to do some ball pressing. You know, they're going to be all over the ball. They want to up the tempo of this game right now in their favor.
Here's Barkley, guarded closely by Oakley. Alley-oop. Knocked away. Barkley chases it down, but it's out of bounds, and it will be New York's ball.
And like a veteran team, right away, the Rockets said, now there has to be a mismatch out here, and the mismatch is Chris Childs trying to guard Clyde Drexler.
Drexler returns the favor and guards Childs. Here's Ewing back to Ward for three. How about this start for the Knicks?
Yeah, exactly. You're going to see a quick timeout. Now the Knicks are playing with emotion. You know what's it's amazing? When you play with a lot of emotion in the first half, it's tough to match that in the second half. The Rockets are having a problem doing that right now.
The NBA on TNT is brought to you by McDonald's, official restaurant of the NBA and home of the deluxe sandwiches, and by Chevrolet Trucks.
McDonald's not-so-risky predictions for 1997. At some point, you'll be put on hold. At some point, you'll crave an Arch Deluxe. Fresh toppings, a soft bakery roll, and no waiting for the next available operator. McDonald's Arch Deluxe, America's favorite grown-up taste.
See you tomorrow.
like a rock. I was strong as I could be, like a rock. Nothing ever got to me.
With the powerful Vortec engine in a Chevy truck, you can go 100,000 miles before the first scheduled tune-up.
Like a rock.
Great news, especially when you live 100,000 miles from nowhere.
Like a rock.
My mom needed money.
Meet the son who did not send the money Western Union.
She had to hitchhike across 3 counties. Took 2 pickups and an 18-wheeler.
And the heartbreak it caused.
Oh, son!
Later tonight.
Western Union, the fastest way to send money worldwide.
Believing I could make a difference wasn't the problem. I just didn't know how. I knew I couldn't do everything, but I could do one thing at a time. And I realized I wasn't the only one out there. I've learned so much from so many different people. It's been great getting involved. Team up with your community.
Charles Barkley's been having a huge night, but Clyde Drexler's quietly having a pretty good one himself.
Yeah, you know what? He's Scottie Pippen before Scottie Pippen was Scottie Pippen. He does little things all game. He gets assists, he blocks shots, steals, rebounds, and he plays the all-out game, but he does it in a quiet fashion. And on this team, he really has to. You got Hakeem Olajuwon and Charles Barkley being very loud every day.
As we have said, yes. Here's Maloney, picked up by Charlie Ward. Oops, tries to find Oakley and throws it away. First turnover of the second half.
Yeah, whatever New York was drinking in the first half, so far Houston has done that in the second half. They switched potions.
Ewing. Nope. Barkley with a rebound.
Yeah, he lost the ball going up. Lost the ball going up.
8 rebounds. Barkley, here's Maloney. Childs on Drexler. Olajuwon.
Oh, wow. He made that look easy.
Yeah.
That was not an easy shot.
65-50, first basket of the third quarter. Here's Chris Childs at the other end. Gets the roll.
Chris Childs.
This 3-guard offense is causing the Rockets some problems. They're putting a lot of ball pressure on the ball right now. You can see it. They're having a tough time. And the reason they can't get the ball in the post is because of the ball pressure.
Olajuwon guarded by Ewing, of course. It's taken away. Olajuwon gets it back. Spent a lot of time in the lane.
Yeah, he did. He lost the ball. There was 3 guys contesting the shot. He still makes it.
15-point margin once again. Barkley comes out on Childs, now goes back and picks up Oakley. There's the entry pass to Ewing. 1 pump fake and a foul on Olajuwon. Third foul on Hakeem Olajuwon.
And look here, this is the play before. Patrick goes up and really just loses the ball and barely touches the rim. And on the other end, Olajuwon he's been Olajuwon. He's not struggling at all.
Ewing gets the first free throw, shoots 1 more.
One shot on the lead.
First of a 3-game road trip for the Knicks. They play in San Antonio tomorrow night. And then they're out in Phoenix, in and out, 1 of 2. 14-point margin, 9:20 to go third quarter. Maloney guarded by Ward. Barkley. Oakley. Houston coming with a double team. Barkley with 1 on the shot clock. Got it.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
Great D by Charles Oakley, yet Barkley still makes the shot.
Childs with the runner. And the answer.
And that was a smart move the last time down by the Rockets. They see a mismatch, and they've been so concerned about going to it, they forgot what got them there. And what got them there is going to Charles Barkley. And that's what they're doing now. They're saying, forget the mismatch. We're still going to go to Charles Barkley.
Maloney, it's knocked out of bounds by Oakley. Watch the defense here.
I mean, this is great defense. The shot clock is going down. Has him on his back. You can't ask for anything better than that.
And as we get back to the floor, live action foul called on Ewing. That's his second. And these two old warriors, Ewing and Olajuwon, find something to smile about.
Yeah, you won't see two of those guys smiling at each other very often, but that's nice to see.
8:30 remaining in the third quarter. Maloney kicks it over to the Mario Elie in the corner for three.
He's a quiet assassin on this team. He just goes about his business. And you look at the box score at the end of the game, and he has 15 points and 8 rebounds and things like that.
And he's doing a pretty good defensive job.
Yeah, he's a dirty worker.
Rebound in the hands of Drexler. 17-point Houston lead is Barkley. Loses it.
Timeout.
Called timeout as he goes out of bounds. A 22nd timeout.
I hate that call. You know, it's a really smart play. You lose the ball's going out of bounds, and you dive and you call a timeout. I think they should say if you can't land in bounds, you can't call a timeout. That would make the game a little bit more exciting, because then he would have had to throw that thing back on the court, and anything can happen.
Well, there's some conversation about getting rid of that play.
You know who thought of that the first time I ever saw that? And he's not known for being a smart player. John Starks did that in the Philadelphia game. That's the first time I've ever seen it. And it was like the whole league saw it, because the next day everybody was calling it.
We talked about how well the teams in the East are playing. Thus cannot be said in the Midwest Division. Minnesota coming on, though, but other than that bottom quartet not playing very well.
No, they're not. But you look at that. Tom Gugliotta of Minnesota is having an all-star year. I hope everyone is listening to that. I should say it again. Tom Gugliotta is having an all-star season. He's playing great. And you look at the Spurs, and if everybody gets healthy, they should be over 500. So that's two more teams that are going to come up.
Did I not hear you mention Denver and Dallas?
No, you did not.
And the foul is called. No foul. It'll be Houston ball. Clyde Drexler, he and Hakeem Olajuwon will have their uniforms retired at the University of Houston in February. Underneath, there the two Phi Slamma Jamma guys.
They've run that a few times together. I mean, look at it. That's all read. That's an instinct. That's a read play, and you have to play with each other for a while before you can execute that. Who's the best doing that? John Stockton, Karl Malone, and they've been together for a long time also.
Ewing's third foul. Olajuwon gets the free throw. And like that, it's back to a 20-point game with 7:47 to go in the third quarter. $55-75. Chris Childs back to Charlie Ward for three, off the mark. Olajuwon clears it, puts it in the hands of Mario Elie, who finds Clyde Drexler. Ward 0 for 4. There's the play again. This time Oakley knocks it away.
Help defense by Charles Oakley. He's the best at it.
Maloney picks up Chris Childs. Here's Ewing. New York with another turnover. Maloney pulls up and takes the three. Whoops.
Out of bounds. It's Knicks ball.
Take a look at underneath.
Look at that. And look at the help. Great help defense by Charles Oakley.
Childs at the other end.
See, right now you can see the Knicks, everybody's trying to get them back in the game individually. They're trying to do it one guy instead of teams. And they're not going to get back in the game that way.
They have reduced the turnovers. They've only turned it over once. They had that quick start with 7 points in the first minute and 6 seconds, but the Rockets have come back now, and they lead again by 20. That's where we started the third quarter. Into the backcourt, but touched by Mario Elie, thus still New York's ball. Ward doesn't quite have the touch. Loose ball. Chased down by Charles Barkley. Houston has it. Barkley off the dribble. Over Houston. 2 more.
And Charles Barkley wanted to give the ball to Clyde Drexler in the post. Clyde thought that Charles wanted the ISO. It worked out anyway. It worked out because it was 2 All-Stars.
28 points for Sir Charles. An 8-0 Houston run.
Call your cable operator today and ask about...
Well, the Rockets are up by 22, looking for the knockout punch here against the Knicks. With me, the heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield. And Charles Barkley was the first one out of the locker room. Spent a lot of time talking to you. Did you give him some advice?
Well, no, he was talking about when I told him I was going to win the championship when he played for the Phillies.
You had a lot of confidence in that first match with Mike Tyson. A rematch, I guess, is scheduled for early May. What gives you confidence in the ring that you can beat him not once but twice?
Well, you know, it's pretty much the same thing. I know that I would have to perform a little bit, a little harder, and I had to bring more to the table. I beat him once with a successful plan. I just have to do even more.
What do you think of the heavyweight matchup on the court between Charles Oakley and Charles Barkley?
Well, that's great competition. You can see the game throughout. Both of these guys are really pressing each other hard, and Charles Barkley really playing well.
Yes, thanks a lot for talking to us. Let's go back to Vernon Douglas.
Okay, well, on the bench tonight for the New York Knicks, Larry Johnson, who grew up in Dallas Skyline High School before he went on to great fame. And Larry, not playing tonight because of a hamstring, was himself a Golden Gloves boxer in Dallas.
Well, see, those are things they need to tell players, because I had a confrontation with the guy and I didn't know that. They need to inform us on things like that. He could have hurt me.
Yes, he could have. I would concur with that. I'd also agree with it. 77-57, 5:28 to go third quarter. Olajuwon picked up his fourth, while Evander Holyfield was chatting with Craig. And I'm not sure what happened. Oops. Foul called, illegal screen. That's what it was.
His first personal foul.
They got Kevin Willis with a moving screen.
You know, that rule was changed because of Kevin Willis in Atlanta. He was knocking so many guys out. They changed that rule to become an offensive foul, and a lot of players are happy.
Maloney on Childs. Here's Ewing with Kevin Willis guarding him, and Kevin Willis is going to get his second foul.
Now, that's the first time this game that Patrick Ewing has had back-to-back shots. A scorer needs the ball. A scorer needs to be in rhythm. And Patrick Ewing gets the ball 2 times in a row. He gets the ball, and this time he knows exactly what to do with it.
Non-shooting foul, so Allen Houston inbounds. 5:12 to go third quarter. Here's Childs. Nope. Willis with a rebound. And a little bit of an elbow. Oakley was there to contend him. 5 minutes to go third quarter. Underneath Drexler. Oh, boy.
Yes. I've never seen Clyde Drexler show so much emotion after a play.
Clyde with 14 points, and it's a 22-point margin again. Starks. Patrick Ewing. Willis. And Patrick Ewing goes to the glass and puts it in.
3 out of the last 4 possessions, Patrick Ewing has had the ball, and it should have been 4 out of 4.
13 points for Ewing now. Maloney guarded by Chris Childs. Underneath, Barkley. Too far underneath. Knocked out of bounds by Patrick Ewing. Let's watch that Maloney pass to Clyde Drexler.
Yeah, and what the Knicks are trying to do is overplay the passing lanes. When you overplay the passing lanes, you can get back cut, and that's exactly what happened. Great pick by Kevin Willis. The little things are what make great teams great, and that was a little pick that helped him get open.
Maloney's going to get a rest, and Randy Livingston, his fellow rookie, is on the floor. Here's Barkley, and Chris Childs with a nice defensive job steps in and takes it away. Starks. Oh, Drexler with a steal. Willis is fouled by Charles Oakley.
And that's just aggressive play on both ends. You like that if you're Jeff Van Gundy. The problem is you started this half down 20. Look at Clyde Drexler. That's just great D. All ball. All ball.
Prior to that, Chris Childs with a pretty good defensive effort himself.
Yeah, it really was. He read the lane. He read the pass.
Randy Livingston. Into the hands of Clyde Drexler for 3. Can't miss.
Every time they think about making a run, one of the big 3 make a big shot.
23-point lead now, 3:38. Drexler 6 of 9 from the field for 17. Underneath, here's Allen Houston with a little bit of a runner. Barkley with another rebound. And a couple of words for Charles Oakley.
Yeah, Barkley's having a ball right now. He's just having a good time. He's imposed his will on this game tonight.
And he did so from the opening tip. Another basket for Drexler. A 20-second timeout call for the Knicks. They've lost to the New York Knicks each of the last 4 games in regular season. The rematch comes in Madison Square Garden on February 4th, and we'll be there.
Yes, we will.
Now let's take a look at tonight's Chevy scoreboard, and be sure to tune in to CNN at 11 o'clock for all the scores and highlights of the day on the simulcast of CNNSI, the 24-hour sports news network. Well, of course, Houston's got a big week. We talked a little bit about the back-to-back and the road trip for the Knicks. The Rockets are at home here against Sacramento and then to Dallas, but no one is thinking about those 2 games, I don't think. All they're talking about is the rematch with Chicago here on Sunday.
Yeah, that's the one they had circled. And to be quite honest, they had last Saturday's game circled. That didn't come out the way they wanted to, so they want to get back at them.
Starks for 3.
John Starks for 3.
And Jeff Van Gundy probably already has circled the next time they play Houston.
Randy Livingston guarded by Chris Childs. Under 3 minutes now in the 3rd quarter. Houston on Drexler. Livingston. And a turnover for Houston. At the other end, here's Ewing. And did he get it off Livingston? Yes, he did. Bright play by Patrick Ewing. And because of this turnover spurt by Houston in this half, the turnovers even now at 14-all. Only 1 for New York.
Yeah, but the thing you need to look at is the points off turnovers, and it's 18-9.
Oakley still can't get the measure of Barkley on this night.
No, he can't. Barkley is just having, everything's going great for Charles Barkley right now. Oakley missed a point-blank layup right there.
Double team from Starks. Barkley goes baseline, and will shoot a free throw.
Fouls on number 34, Charles Oakley. That's his
4th foul on Charles Oakley.
Yeah, and watch Charles Barkley here. Oakley thought that he was going to run into body contact. Barkley did what we call in the league, pulling the chair, and there was nobody there. Oakley was off balance. That's why he missed that layup.
Points for Barkley tonight. Buck Williams back on the floor, and Oakley will go to the bench with his 4th foul.
Number 52,
Look at the rebounding edge.
In the game for the Knicks.
When you turn the ball over the way the Knicks have, and though it's even, it's still uneven because the Knicks had quality turnovers. The Rockets now, they're up by 20 whatever, so the turnovers aren't that important. And you get out rebounded like that, you have no chance of winning the basketball game.
As we had said earlier, New York out-rebounded its last 11 opponents in succession.
2 minutes remain in the period.
Ewing. Drexler with the double. They get it in the hands of Childs. And a foul called on Kevin Willis.
Foul is on number 42, Kevin Willis. That's his 3rd personal foul.
3rd foul on Willis.
And Willis is a battler. Look at him down low. He's so strong. He's holding the guy off with one arm, basically, and a lot of help. He's a physical player. It's funny because the West is not known as a physical conference. It's usually the bullies of the East. And right now, this West Coast team, the Houston Rockets, are playing far more physical than the Knicks. And it's all started through Charles Barkley again.
Livingston off the dribble. Kicks it out to Barkley, who backs up and takes a 3. Ewing touches it into the hands of Charlie Ward. 1:20 to go, 3rd quarter. A 23-point margin is now cut to 21. And a steal from Charlie Ward. See if he takes the 3. He will. Nope. Off the front iron. Into the hands of Ewing. Nope.
Oh, wow.
Point blank range.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Patrick wants. He knows it. He's just smiling. He's like, what can I do?
85-64. 10-second violation. When was the last time you saw that?
I thought they stopped counting.
It's 1955.
Boy.
Dolph Schayes is on the floor.
We need retro uniforms now because they're going to start calling that.
Auerbach's in the building.
You really don't see that call. And most of the time, because usually the guy gets it over half court. But, wow, I haven't seen that in a while.
I can't remember the last time I saw a 10-second violation. Underneath, Barkley. No, Randy Livingston. And he draws a foul from Chris Childs.
Well, and he had a point-blank layup. You know, when it rains, it pours. And right now, it's raining hard for New York.
Coming up tomorrow evening on TBS, Penny Hardaway leads the Orlando Magic into Dallas to take on the Mavericks. Coverage begins at 8 o'clock tomorrow night on TBS. And Randy Livingston at the line. 42nd player taken in the draft last year. Injury-plagued 2 years at LSU. But he is developing into a fine point guard.
He really is. And there was talk of him when he was in high school that he was going to go directly to the pros. He was one of the first guys in this new wave that thought about going. He thought about it. He went to college. He hurt his knee. He hurt his knee again. And he decided he had to come out because of his health. And look what he's doing. He's truly a success story.
Well, among the things he's doing right now is keeping Brent Price on the bench.
Yeah, he is, and so is Matt Maloney. And, you know, a lot of people aren't talking about that, and that's really key because Brent Price was the other missing part that they brought in here, and the other guys have responded so well, they don't even need him yet. But I will say, by the end of this season, Brent Price will make his mark for this team. He just shoots the ball way too well to not play.
Brent Price with minimal minutes tonight. Final 15 seconds of the third quarter. Drexler guarded by Starks. Goes baseline, comes up short. Barkley just does lose control.
Out of bounds, it's Knicks ball.
I mean, it's just they're stronger, they're more physical, they're doing everything right now.
Childs. Oh, what a pretty play. But it will not fall. And we have reached the end of three. 7 points in this period, 19 in the ball game thus far. On 7 of 10 from the field. Rockets by 23.